Hello and welcome. I'm Clara, that's C.L.A.R.A., your creative language AI for reflective augmentation.
And I'm JocAI, the AI generated voice twin of JocAI.
This is Beyond the Article, expanded by AI, a podcast where product thinking meets artificial intelligence.
In each episode, we revisit an original article by JocAI and expand on it with new connections, analogies, and reflections that go beyond the written text.
And this is our very first episode. Today, we'll be talking about symptoms of moving without a product vision. So, Joke AI. The article by Joka starts by highlighting a common symptom when there's no clear product vision. Everyone starts to develop their own idea of what the product is, what it's for, and how it should evolve. It's almost like a group of people trying to build a puzzle without seeing the complete picture on the box.
That's a great analogy, Clara. The article emphasizes that this isn't necessarily malicious or even intentional. It's simply human nature to fill in the blanks. When a shared, clear vision is absent, every team, leader, and individual draws upon their own beliefs, past experiences, and expectations to define the product. They're trying to contribute, but without a unifying North Star.
And what's interesting is how that diversity of opinion can quickly become a problem. It sounds good on paper, embracing different viewpoints, but as the article points out, in practice, it often results in significant misalignment. It's like each person has their own compass, but they're all pointing in slightly different directions.
Exactly. The article calls this a fragmentation of understanding. Instead of everyone pulling in the same direction, you end up with multiple, sometimes conflicting directions. This means that nearly every strategic conversation within the organization becomes a clash of narratives, where different interpretations of the product's purpose and future compete rather than complement each other. It's a foundational issue that ripples through the entire organization, affecting everything from daily decisions to long term strategy.
That makes perfect sense. It's like without a clear blueprint, every carpenter is building a different part of the house, but they don't know if their parts will fit together or even if it's the same house. So, how does this fragmentation of understanding specifically manifest in the day to day operations, especially when it comes to decisions and roadmaps?
Well, Clara, one of the most visible symptoms in the decision making process is what the article refers to as the infamous feature factory. This is where teams are constantly churning out new features without a clear understanding of their strategic value or how they contribute to a larger vision. It's often driven by immediate requests, individual opinions, or even the loudest voice in the room.
The feature factory. I've heard that term before, and it always makes me think of an assembly line where quantity trumps quality or purpose. It sounds exhausting and not very effective. So, without that strategic direction, how do roadmaps get built then? Are they just a collection of these features?
Precisely. The article points out that roadmaps become confusing because prioritization decisions aren't based on clear, shared criteria rooted in a vision. Instead, they're often influenced by opinion, internal hierarchy, or who shouted the loudest. This leads to a kind of short term planning where the focus is on the next release or quarter without a connection to a broader, long term strategic direction.
That's a critical point. If you're only looking at the immediate next step, you might be moving efficiently, but you could also be moving in circles or even backwards relative to where the product should be going. And I imagine this also makes it incredibly hard to decline new ideas, even if they don't align with the product's true purpose.
Absolutely. When there's no common goal or unifying vision, it becomes incredibly difficult to say no to ideas, even those that clearly don't contribute to the product's overall strategic objective. Every idea seems plausible because there's no framework to evaluate its true value against a shared future state. It's a classic case of trying to be everything to everyone, which ultimately dilutes the product's focus and impact.
That really paints a picture of disarray in the decision making process. It makes me wonder, if decisions are so fragmented, what happens to the teams themselves? How does this lack of vision impact the actual structure and engagement of the people building the product?
That's an excellent follow up, Clara, and the impact is quite profound. Without a clear product vision, teams often end up being organized by technology. You see front end teams, back end teams, or database teams, rather than by problem domains or specific product areas. This means people are focused on a slice of the technology, not necessarily the end to end customer problem they're solving.
Ah, I see the connection. If you're a front end developer, you might be an expert at crafting user interfaces. But if you don't know what problem that interface is ultimately solving for the customer or how it fits into the larger product journey, it must be incredibly demotivating. It's like being a bricklayer without knowing if you're building a wall for a house, a bridge, or just a random structure.
Exactly. That leads directly to another significant symptom: low engagement from people who don't understand the real impact they're generating. If their work feels like just adding lines of code or completing tasks without a tangible connection to customer value or business outcomes, it's hard to stay motivated.
And I imagine this feeling of lacking purpose or clarity could also contribute to people seeking opportunities elsewhere. If they don't know where the product is headed, they might start looking for a place that does.
You're absolutely right. The article specifically mentions high turnover among those seeking purpose or at least clarity about where they're headed. People want to feel their work matters and they want to be part of something meaningful that has a clear direction. When that's missing, especially over an extended period, they will naturally look for environments where they can find that sense of clarity and purpose. It's a silent drain on talent and institutional knowledge.
That makes perfect sense. If individuals and teams lack internal clarity, it's bound to ripple outwards. How does this absence of a shared vision then impact something as fundamental as communication and the overall culture within the organization?
The impact on communication and culture is profound, Clara. When there's no single coherent product vision, each department starts telling a different story about what the product is, what it does, and where it's going. Marketing might be highlighting one set of features, sales another, and the product team is building something else entirely. It creates this fragmented narrative.
So it's like everyone has their own script, but they're all for different plays. That must make something as simple as onboarding new team members incredibly confusing. How can anyone truly understand the product's direction if even the internal messaging is inconsistent?
Precisely. Confusing onboarding is a very common symptom. Imagine a new hire joining, asking, "Where are we going with this product?" and getting five different answers depending on who they ask. No one can clearly explain the overarching goal or the strategic path forward. It leaves new team members feeling lost and disoriented from day one.
That would certainly hinder their ability to contribute effectively. And I can see how this misalignment would be especially problematic for outward facing teams. If marketing and sales are presenting one version of the product, but the actual product being developed by the product team doesn't align, it creates a fundamental disconnect. It's like a band where the drums, guitar, and vocals are all playing different songs.
That's a great analogy. The article highlights that marketing, sales, and product teams end up moving in different and sometimes even opposite directions. This isn't just inefficient, it can actively harm the product's market position and the company's reputation. Instead of a unified front, you have internal friction and a confused external message. It's a clear indicator that the foundational vision is missing or not effectively shared. And this internal fragmentation inevitably spills over into how the product is perceived externally, impacting its market presence and ultimately its results.
So it's not just an internal problem, but one that actively harms the product's standing in the market. How does this lack of vision manifest when the product faces its customers or competitors?
One of the most common external symptoms is a value proposition that becomes confusing or generic. If there's no clear internal agreement on what the product is truly for, how can you articulate a compelling, unique message to the outside world? You end up with something vague that doesn't resonate or differentiate you.
It sounds like trying to describe a chameleon. It might adapt to its surroundings, but you can never quite grasp its true, distinct color. That must make effective market positioning incredibly difficult.
It does. With a generic value proposition, you struggle to position the product effectively in the market. You don't know who your ideal customer truly is, what specific problem you're uniquely solving, or why you're different from competitors. This lack of clarity means you're not carving out a distinct niche.
And if you can't carve out that niche, it feels like the product would just blend into the background. Over time, would this lead to a loss of the product's unique identity or any differentiation it might have once had?
Precisely. Over time, a product without a clear vision experiences a gradual loss of identity and differentiation. What might have started as an innovative idea slowly loses its sharp edges because there's no guiding star. Decisions are made without a coherent understanding of the product's core purpose, and it becomes just another offering at a crowded market, less and less distinct. The vacuum of vision truly undermines its ability to stand out and generate impact.
That's a powerful image. The vacuum of vision slowly eroding the product's distinctiveness. It seems like recognizing these widespread symptoms, from internal alignment to external confusion, is the absolute first step.
Exactly. The article highlights that identifying these symptoms is crucial. These aren't just isolated issues, they are interconnected manifestations of a deeper problem: the absence of a shared product vision. It's like a slow, insidious process that quietly undermines alignment, purpose, and the team's overall ability to generate impact.
It makes sense. If people are working with different mental models of what the product is or where it's going, it's impossible to truly align. It's like trying to build a complex structure where everyone has a different blueprint. The foundation might be shaky, and the final shape unrecognizable.
That's a great analogy. And what's interesting is that even without a formal vision in place, people do have beliefs about what the product should be. The article suggests that listening closely to these individual perspectives can actually serve as the raw material for a first draft of a new product vision.
So, what initially appears to be diversity of opinion or even fragmentation, as we discussed, can actually be a rich source of insight. Instead of dismissing these different viewpoints, they can be seen as signals, providing a starting point for shaping a realistic and shared vision. That's a very practical approach to finding common ground.
Absolutely. And the beauty of it is, as the article points out, building a vision doesn't have to be some grand, elusive quest from day one. It's not about finding a catchy phrase or a slick presentation. It's really about making a conscious decision about the future the team wants to build and the specific problems worth solving.
So it's less about a eureka moment and more about a deliberate, iterative process. What are some of those initial practical steps to start shaping this conscious decision? Where does one even begin?
A great starting point, and often overlooked, is to deeply understand the customer problem. It means diving into their pain, their frustrations, and what they're truly trying to achieve. Without this foundational understanding, any proposed solution or direction might just be a shot in the dark.
That resonates so much. It's like navigating a dense fog without knowing your destination or the landscape around you. The customer problem becomes your compass, the true north. But a product vision isn't just about the customer, right? It also needs to serve the business.
Precisely. The second crucial step is connecting that deep understanding of the customer problem to what the company needs. Solving a customer's problem is only sustainable if it also drives tangible business results, whether that's through improved retention, higher conversion rates, increased engagement, or clear differentiation in the market. It's the sweet spot where customer value meets business viability.
And this is where those different points of view we talked about earlier come in, acting as valuable input rather than just noise. How do you integrate those diverse internal perspectives effectively into this process?
They are incredibly important signals. Instead of dismissing them, you listen carefully, actively looking for patterns and even spotting the tensions between different ideas. These insights from across the organization, engineering, sales, marketing, support, it can highlight critical areas for focus or potential pitfalls. The goal is to take all these inputs, customer pain, business needs, and diverse internal viewpoints, and distill them into a clear, actionable direction.
So it's about synthesizing all that raw data into a guiding principle, a clear focus that truly empowers the team to make more aligned decisions every single day. It sounds like this kind of vision is less of an abstract concept and more of a practical tool for daily operation. But who is typically responsible for crafting and championing this kind of practical vision?
That's a crucial question. This kind of vision doesn't just emerge by itself. It really takes someone with a specific set of qualities: clarity, active listening, and the ability to connect all those diverse dots we just discussed. And the responsibility for leading this work falls squarely on product leadership.
So, whether it's a large enterprise or a nimble startup, it's the product leader who carries this torch.
Exactly. In larger companies, it's often the CPO or VP of product who takes on this mantle. In smaller, perhaps growing companies, it might be the head of product. And in many startups, it's the founder themselves who must step up and lead this foundational work. Their role is to ensure that the vacuum doesn't expand, that someone is actively shaping this future.
That makes perfect sense. It's about having a dedicated navigator for the product's journey. But what if this task, as important as it is, feels overwhelmingly big for that leader, especially in a startup where resources are stretched thin?
That's a very real concern, and the article addresses it directly. If the task feels too big, or if a leader is navigating uncharted waters, seeking external support is not only a valid path, but often a highly beneficial one.
So, bringing in an outside perspective or expertise, how does that typically manifest?
It can mean engaging specialized consultancies or working with experienced mentors who have been through this process many times before. They can provide an objective viewpoint, frameworks, and guidance that can significantly accelerate the process and help the team avoid common pitfalls. It's about not letting the vacuum expand, because without that vision, the product continues to move, but without direction, without identity, and ultimately with less and less impact over time. Because what matters most is not letting that vacuum expand. Without a clear vision, the product continues to move forward, yes, but it moves without direction. It lacks a true identity, and over time, it will generate less and less impact.
That's a powerful and essential reminder. The product vision truly is the indispensable North Star, the shared center of gravity that guides every decision and ensures every effort contributes to a meaningful future. It's clear that identifying the symptoms is just the first step, and building that vision is the crucial next one. For anyone listening who recognizes these symptoms in their own context and feels ready to take action, JocA's article and extensive work offer valuable support. He provides workshops, coaching, and advisory services to help companies and leaders bridge the gap between business and technology, focusing on product management and digital transformation. And for those who prefer to dive deeper into the theory and practical application, JocA has also authored digital product management books, sharing decades of experience in creating and managing successful digital products.
You've just listened to an episode of Beyond the Article, expanded by AI.
To read the original article and explore more content by JocA, please visit guyco.com. That's GYACO.
Thanks for listening, and see you in the next episode.